You ever move somewhere thinking it's your fresh start, your slice of peace, only to have someone barge in and try to rip it all away? That's what happened to me, Jack Ramsey, 3 days after I set foot on my new homey of 50-acre island in the middle of Lake Huron, Michigan. I'm a retired Marine, seen enough sand and blood in a rock to last a lifetime. But nothing prepared me for the war that found me on that quiet dock. It started with a low rumble across the water, not the soft hum of a fishing boat, but the kind of roar you feel in your chest, like trouble's coming and it's wearing a three-piece suit. I was unpacking boxes, still smelling like sawdust and fresh paint, when a sleek 50-foot yacht pulled up to my dock like it owned the place. Out steps Karen Whitmore, president of the Pineview Homeowners Association, her red blazer screaming money, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. Behind her, three guys in suits, each clutching a briefcase like it's a weapon. I knew right then, my war wasn't over it, just traded desert camo for suburban power plays. See, this island wasn't just a gift. It was a debt repaid. Tech Mobile Nathan Caldwell gave it to me after I dragged his daughter, a combat medic, 3 miles through enemy fire with shrapnel in my leg. He called a thank you. I called a second chance. But Karen? She saw it as her Golden Taquita $3 million wind farm deal she'd been chasing for years. She didn't know the island was mine, free and clear, or that it sat on federal land, untouchable by her HOA's greedy claws. I met her on the dock, still in my old Marine t-shirt, holes and all, coffee mug in hand. Morning, I said, keeping it calm, though my gut was already tightening. This is private property. You're on my dock. Karen smiled, didn't budge. All teeth, no soul. Mr. Ramsey, I'm Karen Whitmore, Pineview HOA. We need to talk about your situation. Situation? I'd been here 72 hours, and already I had a situation. This island's not under your jurisdiction. I shot back, flexing my arm just enough to show the Marine ink. Sometimes that's enough to make people rethink their game plan. Not Karen. She pulled a folder from one of her suit's briefcases, smooth as a magician. The island's part of our green energy plan, wind turbines, solar panels, the works. The previous owner didn't disclose certain obligations. Obligations, my ass. Nathan had been crystal clear when he signed the deed over before cancer took him. Every paper was in order, every detail locked tight. Karen was fishing, and I wasn't biting. About all the paperwork, I said, watching her eyes for a tell. She didn't blink, just handed me the folder like it was a grenade. You have 48 hours to sign the compliance agreement, or we'll pursue aggressive measures. Aggressive measures. In Iraq, that meant mortars. Here, it meant lawyers, fines, maybe worse. As her yacht pulled away, I heard her mutter to her team. Another washed-up vet thinking he's still a hero. He'll fold. That's when I knew this wasn't just about land. It was personal. Back inside, I spread the folder across my kitchen table, pages of legal jargon and maps circled like a battle plan. Buried in the fine print was the real kicker. Karen was set to pocket a $450,000 consulting fee for handing my island to Great Lakes Energy Corporation. The HOA had already conned 50 families into signing away their waterfront rights for pennies, all while Karen and her husband, Greg, a banker with his fingers in every mortgage on the lake, raked in millions. It was a scam, polished and perfect, and I was their next target. I called the only lawyer I trusted, Sarah Nguyen, who'd helped my squad with VA claims. She picked up voice all business. Jack, you inherited an island, and now you're in a war? Spill it. I laid it all out, Karen, the yacht, the threats. Sarah whistled. Karen Whitmore's bad news. Give me 6 hours. Don't sign anything, and don't punch anyone, no matter how much you want to. I laughed, but she was already gone, diving into research like it was a mission. By dawn, the escalation hit. 5 boats circled my island, speakers blasting everything from death metal to polka, loud enough to rattle my windows. Classic psyops, meant to break me with noise. I faced worse in Fallujah, but it still pissed me off. Then a drone showed up, buzzing my cabin like a vulture. I grabbed my camera, snapped its registration number, and called the sheriff. Deputy Mike Larson showed up, looking like he'd rather be fishing. Karen says it's an environmental survey, he mumbled, avoiding my eyes. This is federal land, I said, handing him papers Sarah had sent. Any survey needs DOD approval. His face went pale. Karen's brother's the sheriff. Her husband owns half the county. Be careful, man. That night, I couldn't sleep not from the noise, but from the fire in my chest. Karen wasn't just after my island. She'd been preying on people like me for years, vets, retirees, anyone who couldn't fight back. I dug through public records, social media, anything I could find. The pattern was ugly. An Army vet, Tom Grayson, lost his home after code violations bankrupted him. A widow, Ellen Parker, sold her lakefront lot after months of fines for unapproved landscaping. 2 vets had taken their own lives after Karen's harassment. It wasn't just greed, it was cruelty, dressed up in HOA rules and fake smiles. Sarah called back at midnight, her voice tight. Jack, this island's a federal asset Cold War testing site, still protected under the National Security Act. Karen's energy deals a felony if she touches it. And there's more. She's targeted vets before. 2 suicides, 1 missing. The FBI's sniffing around, but they need hard proof. That's when I found Edo waterproof bag tied to my dock, left under cover of darkness. Inside, a flash drive and a note. She ruined my life. Make her pay. A friend. The drive was a gold mine. Emails between Karen and Greg plotting to target weak homeowners, bank records showing payoffs to private investigators, even a recording of Karen laughing about Tom Grayson's suicide, calling him one less problem. I forwarded everything to Sarah and my old squad mate, Tommy Hawk Delgado, now with NCIS. Hawk didn't hesitate. Jack, you just made Karen priority 1. Send it all. We're moving. The next morning, Karen upped the ante. A construction barge anchored just off my shore, workers setting up a drilling rig that'd make my island unlivable. They didn't know they were 400 yards inside federal water felony in progress. I filmed every second, playing the stressed-out vet for Karen's spies, shouting at the workers while Sarah whispered in my earpiece, "Let them dig. We need them to commit." At noon, the drilling started, a grinding scream that shook the trees. I waited 30 minutes, then called Hawk. Code 7 violation, federal waters. I've got video, photos, witnesses. His voice crackled with glee. Hold tight, brother. Cavalry's coming. Karen called minutes later, smug as hell. Sign the papers, Ramsey, or I'll bury you in court. Your kind always cracks. My kind. I bit back the anger. You're drilling in federal waters, Karen. That's a crime. She laughed. You think you're clever? I've broken tougher men than you. You're nothing. I dropped the bomb. Like Tom Grayson? Ellen Parker? I've got your voice on tape. Karen, laughing about a dead vet. The line went dead, but I could feel her panic. 3 hours later, her goons showed up 12 guys in a speedboat, built like linebackers, one in a tactical vest like he thought he was Rambo. Karen sent this, the big one said, tossing an envelope on my dock. Sign it or accidents happen. Vets like you drown easy. I kept my cool, phone recording. You're trespassing on federal land. Leave now. He smirked, stepping closer. You're not in Iraq, soldier. This is Karen's lake. That's when Hawk's voice hit my earpiece. Let him cross the line, Jack. The goon took one more step past the federal marker I'd planted in. That was it. 3 NCIS boats roared in, silent as ghosts. 15 Marines in full gear materializing like a nightmare. Federal agents. Freeze, shouted Captain A. Carter, a buddy from Iraq who could still outshoot me with one eye closed. The goons were cuffed before they could blink, their boat impounded as the barge crew gawked. Karen's yacht arrived at dusk, floodlights blazing, cameras rolling like she was starring in her own reality show. Sheriff Dan Brooks trailed her, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, with a shrink and a gaggle of concerned citizens. Karen grabbed a megaphone, voice dripping with fake pity. "Jack Ramsey, you're a danger to yourself. Come peacefully for evaluation." I stepped onto the dock, calm, no weapons, just a tired Marine staring down a bully. "Karen, this island's federal property. You're committing a crime right now." She scoffed, stepping forward, heels clicking. "Delusions, Jack." Dr. Ellis confirmed his instability. The shrink started to spiel, but I cut in loud for the cameras. "You destroyed Tom Grayson, Karen. Drove Ellen Parker out. Stole millions from families who trusted you. And now you're weaponizing PTSD to steal my home." The crowd gasped as a young woman, Lila Whitmore, Karen's own daughter, stepped out, playing the recording of Karen's cruel laugh. "Tell the truth, Mom," Lila said, tears in her eyes. Karen's face shattered. "That's fake," she screamed, but FBI agent Rachel Kim walked out, badge flashing. "It's real, Mrs. Whitmore. You're under arrest, conspiracy, fraud, racketeering, and federal trespass." Marines swarmed, cuffing Karen as her cameras caught every second. Her empire was done. 6 months later, I'm on that same dock, watching the sunset. The island's a haven, now cabins for vets, a garden for healing, a wall for the fallen. Lila's funding it, using clean money from her dad's old accounts, honoring Tom Grayson's memory. Karen got 20 years. Greg and their energy court buddies went down too. The Pineview HOA's gone, and the lake's free, property values up 25% without her shadow. The feds passed the Ramsey-Grayson Act, shielding vets from predators like her. Hawk's here now, running security, while Nate's team teaches vets to fish, laugh, live again. But here's the thing, Karen wasn't just one bad apple. There's a Karen in every town, hiding behind rules, money, power. So what do you think? How do you fight someone who twists the system to crush people? Drop a comment. Tell me your take. Have you faced a Karen? Seen justice done? I'm all ears, because this fight, it's bigger than one island, and it's far from over.